All right. So let me get to the YouTube chat here. All right, we should be live for everyone here. Let me just let everyone. Oh, we have a lot of people chopping it up already. Here we go. All right. I just noticed this. All right. Sorry, guys. What's going on, everybody?
Hey, guys.
Oh, I need to get my microphone in here. I'm just talking through my bad. Repeat, get up, buddy.
What's going on, Sweatshop?
Sorry, guys. One of you guys take over for me real quick. I just got to get this mic in here. So.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for joining us, guys. Not sure how many do we have tonight?
We have 6 watching right now.
All right.
Okay.
You guys hear me well?
Yes, sir.
All right, awesome. All right, I'm good. All right, so we got Caleb, Jacob in here, Jordan's in here. All right, we're looking good. So we got the TPC Deer Run, the John Deere Classic at the TPC Deer Run course, par 71, about 7,100 yards. I don't want to take off of Seth's post, and thank you for doing that, by the way. Good information there. As everyone knows,
if you want to read off that, that's fine.
Oh, no worries, man. Everyone knows. I mean, a lot of the names obviously the names in the chat have been here with us almost each week, so they know about the John Deere. It's one of the easiest events on the PGA Tour. A lot of birdies. We talked a little bit just now off stream about how many not about how many birdies, but guys that may or may not keep up with how many birdies happen. And obviously, if there's some weather concerns, that might be tarnished a little bit. But we have about, I think, 4 out of the last 5 years have been all minus 20 or better. So maybe all 5. I can't recall. So definitely a birdie fest. That's all I really have as an intro. I put a post for everyone. If you're not in the sweatshop, because this is a public video, and you haven't, and we know we didn't post a video last week. We had a bunch of things we had to do. We're not paid for our stuff, so it's not like we have to do this, to be honest. So we're doing this because we love the golf community and the sweatshop especially. So we definitely plan to be here each week, though. So sorry to spew there, guys, but yeah. So that's what I got. Anything else you guys want to mention before we actually get into the actual information, I guess?
If we want to talk about the course a little bit, like a lot of short par 4s, I believe, right?
Yeah. There's I think there's 3. There's the short par 4s, and I think the par 5s. This is real quick. I don't want to go back and forth, but the one thing I do know, I don't remember the yardage on the par 4s, but I do know all the par 5s are in between 550 and 600 yards, and the hole number 10. I don't remember which one.
Actually, if you want to, I got it on my screen here somewhere. I could pull it up, and everybody can see the layout.
All right, gotcha. I just completely screen shared you there, or I think that that's you. All right.
Yeah, let me get this up here.
Well, yeah, just real quick. So all the par 5s are all in that 50-yard range, and so if you want to look at the stats for an approach or from a par 5 efficiency of 550 to 600, obviously all par 5s are different. But as this is one of the easiest birdie making courses, this is probably some of the easiest par 5s you're going to get. I will say one thing: the hole number 10 par 5. I don't remember which one in order it is, but that one is actually one of the hardest on the course. Holes in general, not just a par 5. So scoring, the majority of the scoring will come from the par 5s. A lot of eagles, but you will see there is a lot of bogeys as well. It's not just birdie, 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 par, birdie, birdie. It's either birdie or bogey. It's not really that many. They're not going to see that many pars. No Kevin Streelman this week, boys. Oh, speaking of that, if anyone in the chat or any of you, Seth and Andrew, you guys play any Kevin Streelman all last week?
No, I had a single bullet last week.
Yeah, and I played him. Yeah, I only threw one lineup in the regular, but my DGen has played some weekend, and I threw him in the weekend line with Grayson, and this dude goes out there and pars all 18 holes.
Yeah.
This dude finished with like 11.25 fantasy points because you get that bogey-free round. And Grayson Murray finished with more points than that. Like, what the fuck? Like, well, he withdrew last week, but that was terrible. But that's not what I mean. But it's just literally absolutely nothing. 3 birdies would have got me more than that. So, and like 6 bogeys. So anyway, you got that. Holy smacks, Seth! You got like 40 tabs up.
Yeah, I know. That's why it's
How
always
do you-
hard for me to find what I'm looking for. But yeah, you wanted to see the whole layout? Hold on, I got it right here.
Yeah, I don't recall the actual yardage. I know that it is a par 71. That there is one more par 5 and one fewer par 3, I believe, or par 4, I believe.
Oh, here we go. Let me turn this off.
There's Eric Axley.
Yeah, what did happen with Ollie last week? Why did he get DQ'd?
He was disqualified for signing a wrong scorecard. He put the wrong. He supposedly botched 2 holes. So like he put the wrong score for 2 holes in a row, and like
All right,
he confused the two. But since he signed it, he was confirming that it was his. So
so here's the
all of
whole.
his points.
It's an unusual course because we've got 3 par 5s, which is not very common.
Right.
So that's why you're going to want to focus on guys that are playing well on par 4s. Obviously, it's one of the key stats that I was going after, and also par 3s because obviously the less par 5s you got to have these guys making it up somewhere else.
Well, I just feel like since the course is so easy, I think if you're able to chase those eagles. Well, first I just want to say if we're talking about chasing scoring, I think that ownership is going to go to Brian Harmon. I think he's like the only guy to hole and ace 2 holes or in the same round, and it was on this event. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. The scoring can come on anything, and you're right. But the thing is with par 3s, that's almost complete luck. I mean, I know there is accuracy, but to get it close to the green, but any type of hole in one, I mean, you can't really predict those things. But I agree with you. I'm more on the par 5 scoring just because I think since the majority, like if you don't eagle the par 5s, you're behind. If you don't, birdie or eagle, I should say, not just eagle. But if you don't on the par 4s or the par 3s, if you just settle for par, I think you'll still be able to manage by making it up on the par 5s. I think so. I mean, granted, I mentioned off stream I wasn't going to be playing Jamie Lovemark, so he is more of a bomber, so that kind of contradicts me a little bit. But there are certain guys that I'm coming on to that I guess accuracy so much wouldn't if you're playing that angle. But I guess we can get right into it. I don't know too much actually. I think this is I don't know too much about the specific course layout. Isn't it bent? Is it bent or Bermuda grass? I know it's one of the two.
I'm not sure. I thought we talked about that, and you said that it was bent grass, if I'm not mistaken.
I do think so, but I think I was watching something. They said it was Bermuda, but
does it say it on here on Fantasy National?
I don't know. I'm still fiddling with it. Let me bring it up on my internet because I was looking at yours there. So I do have a tab open. So let's see.
This is a really good site, by the way. I never even knew about it until you told me.
Yeah, Moosonomic, shout out to him. It's a beta for free right now. It's pretty much combines everything that we brought up tab after tab after tab.
Yeah, so they got bent grass on all the greens.
All right, bent grass. All right, sorry about that. So yes, I was trying to get that up, but I couldn't.
I'm not sure. Obviously we don't need to worry about anything else, but it is bent grass, and it has been going all the way back to. Okay. This is each round, so this doesn't go that far back.
You can change it.
Oh, you can. All right. Yeah, because I got it going back 4 years here.
Yeah, I'm on the last 24 rounds, so I'm doing the last 6 years. I am going to look at one thing here. So, while I look at TPC's year run on par 5 efficiency on the last 24 rounds, which is the last 6 years, the guys at the top, like that fit the 550 to 600 range, are guys that smash this event. Number 1 and 2. If you take a guess, it's Zach Johnson, Ryan Moore. I didn't actually want you guys to just throw names out there, but guys with immaculate course history. Then we look at just a few names down. I mean, we do have a couple outliers, to be honest, like Mark Hubbard. I actually don't know his course history, to be honest. He's not that well known of a golfer, so he hasn't been on my radar. But Vaughn Taylor, who's been on my radar a few times this year, and he surprisingly was mentioned in like the Labs podcast I watched earlier. He's ranks third in strokes gained in par 5 efficiency, and then Matt Jones and Johnson Wagner, who at 7,500 on DK is going to be uber duper chalk. Not the highest owned guy, but elite course history this week, elite course history last week. Shit the bed last week. We'll see what he does this week. I'm fading him again, but I really like Kelly Craft in that range, who's also going to be a little chalky, and I hate to play chalky Kelly Craft, but I think he's going to top 20. So at 7,700, I'm gonna let it fly. But to sum it up, I think in this 550 to 600 range, if you look at that par 5 scoring, you can get a general idea of guys who should do well with scoring. Not so much. I mean, you can always like flunk the bet, I guess, or fuck up real bad, I guess, if we're gonna be real cruel out here. But guys out here like Billy Hurley, Derek Fathauer, like you can make an argument saying like, Dexter, come on, man, they're 9th and 10th. Like, what do you mean? These guys aren't good. I don't know. It's just stats. So at the end of the day, it's not like I'm going to be playing these guys just because they're there, but it gives me a general idea. Like, there's some other names. Brian Harmon's in there, Summer Hayes. So, interesting. So, yeah, man. Sorry to spew there. That's all I really have on the par 5. I just want to let that be known there because I think we can get those eagles. Like McGirt hitting those 2 eagles in that one round a few weeks back. He was pretty much on the winning lineup immediately just by those 2 eagles.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention last year, I don't think you've ever seen an event like this. Look how many guys made eagle just last year here. I sorted it by eagles, and you go all the way down to T56. Every one of them made at least 1 eagle. Bud Colley and Garrigus made 2 each. But, I mean, that's unbelievable to see this many in one event. And what that tells me is that if you have a guy that doesn't make eagle, you might be in trouble because those points are big. And if you got 2 or 3 guys that are making eagle, what is it, 8 points for an eagle?
6 or 8, yeah.
Yeah, so let's say it's 24 points out of 3 guys if you got 3 guys making eagle. And if you happen to be on 3 guys that don't make any, 6 guys that don't make any, you're already in the hole for 24 points.
Right. And supposedly, one of the very first podcasts I heard this week, I can't recall who it was because I listened to a bunch early on, but supposedly they said that a lot of these par 4s, and you mentioned earlier that they're shorter than most. So a lot of them might be drivable in 2, and I don't want to throw names out there to get us off topic of the actual course layout, but the guy said a guy like Bubba Watson might be able to get in there on almost all the par 4s just because of his distance. So I don't know.
You mean drive them all?
Yeah. But that I don't know. I didn't take that serious. I didn't
if
take
he's doing that. I haven't even looked at his scrambling stats, but I know that I was interested in him this week. I know that there's going to be a lot of people that are like totally anti Bubba Watson. They don't want anything to do with him, and they hold that bias. And I think it's unfortunate for them because I think that just makes his ownership go down. And he's got a good. He's still inside top 50 right now.
Right, and he's like 40 to 1 odds to win, which is top 10 in the field.
Exactly, and he's I think he's right around the bubble for FedEx. He's working really hard to get that to get in the playoffs, which is another thing that we're looking at.
The only thing I have against him real quick is that if he's in the field for this for the Open next week, and since that's happening out there in England, that's a whole time zone difference, 6-hour difference. And I think Bubba Watson, I don't know, I just don't see if he's been playing on Europe a lot in Europe, I should say, a lot recently, and I don't see why he just didn't do it this week with the field they have out there. It's weird to me that he played out here in the United States. I don't know.
I think it's got a lot to do with the FedEx playoffs.
Right, and I thought it was either for confidence, and then I thought back about it, and you make that point that drives it home again because that's guys like that makes the point exactly for guys like Curtis Luck, Xander Schauffele, guys that are kind of new on tour but that can contend and retain their tour card because that's mainly the key. And for Bubba Watson, he's trying to get the money. And that's the FedEx Cup, of course. So I agree, man. I think he's going to go out there and try to play to win. If I can get him under 10, 12%, I'm going to play him, just being honest. Because a lot of guys in that range, you're not going to get under 10, 12%. I don't even know if you would with Bubba either.
He's at 118 right now. He's got to stay inside 125, and it should probably be looking at guys around that area. I know DeChambeau, he's another hard guy to roster.
Jacob Banker said Bubba's got to put some weight on before I play him again.
Yeah, don't worry. There's not going to be much wind this week, so he should be able to stay upright.
Oh man!
And have you looked at the weather tonight? Because I looked at it earlier today. I think there's some thunderstorms early. I don't know if there's going to be a delayed start, but like I said, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, if they do go off and they have to stop, I think that kind of hurts the guys going off early. But,
yeah, the precipitation chances. This is all, sadly, of course, Apple weather or Google weather. Actually, I think it is. Yeah, Google weather here. It looks good actually. Sunday is the only chance, about 50% chance of rain at 8 in the morning. It says, but so far so good. It looks like it was raining out there today though. Actually, no, it was only 33% chance, but it looks good. Wind's going to be decent, about 10, 12 miles per hour. Nothing severe. Only 5 on the weekend, 11 on Sunday, actually, so nothing too serious. It's going to be another tournament as normal. So anyway, that's all we really got for the course. Anything you guys else want to add before we get into the specific plays and players in general?
Just one quick note. Just on like ownership and everything, because you guys know I like to talk about the mentality side of golf a lot too, or DFS in general.
Right.
I see a lot of guys always, talking about just fading a guy simply because they're chalk. I am like always against. If it's a good play them. Like the whole chalk thing. Like I've tried out a lot of different strategies recently. I do my worst when I'm trying to worry about ownership too much. When I'm too worried about if this guy's gonna be highly owned, if this guy's gonna be, chalk, or if I fade the chalk, putting me at an advantage. It's because we always can get a projected ownership, but there are times when we think guys who are gonna be super high owned are not high owned at all, and they go out and perform. It's like Ricky Fowler that 1 week, right? A lot of us faded him just because of ownership. So I just want to reiterate to everybody, like, don't just fade somebody simply for an ownership perspective. Like, if that person if their course stats match up with this course and they're a good play them. You can win tournaments. Like, I know it's a lot less likely, but you can win tournaments with 5 chalky guys and then one person at 0.01% ownership because your line is different from everybody else. So I just want to reiterate that. I'm not saying, trying not to take anybody off their plays or anything. And I understand the whole contrarian side, but just remember, like, don't just fade somebody simply because they're going to be chalk. But yeah, so that's all I want to say.
Yeah, actually, let me add to that. I agree a lot with that, and obviously I should, since we all know how well you've done. But basically, I think differentiating, and I'm a pretty contrarian player. I've shown different spreadsheets and whatnot to show you how chalk doesn't generally do well. Mm-hmm. It's like the curse. If you're top owned guy,
yeah, that top level chalk, yeah.
Right. I mean, they never win, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they can't get you enough points to where you need to be. However, if you do have the top guy, you can't project that. But if you do wind up with the guy, and right out of the gate you see that, it's kind of a bummer because you know what's going to happen. I mean, the trend is there, and you know what you need to, where you need to be at the end of the tournament. Now, Finau last week, I think he was a top owned guy, and he was 10th in DK points. So he actually, and he's one player actually that has a history of it doesn't matter what his ownership is, he can still perform. A lot of these guys, when they get real chalky, it's just a total coincidence, I guess, but it's happening like week after
Justin Thomas.
Yeah, and I mean the last guy to win as the highest owned player was DJ back maybe 18 weeks or so ago at the Genesis Open, I believe. Yeah. So it's very unlikely, if you get the guy that's top owned, then I wouldn't necessarily put a bet on him during the round, during the tournament. I wouldn't expect them to win. But what I would say is, to your point of differentiating yourself with at least one guy that you have a pretty good feel on the fact that he's probably going to be low owned is the way to go. Along with never going with 50,000. Don't don't fill up your whole salary. I mean, that is like the worst thing you can do. That's a definite. That's most likely going to be duplicated several times. I mean, if you can leave 1,000 or somewhere around 1,000 on the table, it's probably a really good idea.
Yeah.
Because if you hit that 50,000, I mean, there's only so many combinations that you can put together that are going to get you to the 50,000. And if a ton of people are doing that, especially in a big GPP, I mean, it gets a little less concerning. Yeah, the Millie Maker especially. Yeah. I mean, you really got to do it in that. But, if it's a single entry, it's probably not as important. You still don't want to use up the whole 50, but as you get into the multi-entry, because I can look up on Fantasy Fanatics and see all the duplicate lineups, and even the guys that are putting in 150 lineups, I saw several of their lineups that were duplicated. So even if they hit, they're splitting that.
Yeah, they're splitting money. Yeah.
Yeah. So, there's really no way to avoid it when you're max lining, when you're doing max lineups, because you're going to end up with a lot of chalk, pretty much, unless you really get your player pool contrarian. But I don't know, an event like this, you got a big separation between like the best players.
Yeah, top talent
and garbage. I mean, it's not like a more common event where you got like anybody can win it. Basically, I think you really got to like focus on these guys that have the ability to go out there and do what it says on paper.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we've seen these guys in the last few weeks where you're just like scratching your head, like, how the hell did he miss the cut? Mm-hmm. Why did Rory and Ricky and all these guys, who going in look like they were going to tear it up, and meanwhile they were gone by Saturday. But I hope that I don't think this is going to turn out that way. I think you can feel comfortable taking at least 2 or 3 guys that are projected to do well, and then like Andrew said, throw in a couple guys that you don't think anybody's talking about that have the ability. Of course, don't just pick any guy like out of a hat. We got to do some research. I mean, I got some names in mind of some guys that I haven't heard much about, and I think you guys probably do too, and we can mention those as we go along to try to get some differentiation.
It's like we were talking about this before the stream started, guys, is that this event, not many people win from outside the top, 25 plus. Like the lower tier guys in this event don't normally win this event. So more than likely it's going to be one of the top golfers that win this event.
Yeah, I think it's 8 out of the last 10. We're in inside top 50 in the world. 7 were in the inside the top 20. There were 2 winners outside, and those were Spieth and Harmon, and I'm sure everybody knows who they are. I mean, it turned out to be great, especially Spieth. So, you really have to be playing well to win this event. It's not, there's a lot of misconception on it that it's just, get lucky, make a lot of birdies. well, the guys making a lot of birdies are the guys that are good ball strikers and putting well. So you can't just pick a guy that is going to come out of nowhere and steal this one. I don't think anyway. I mean, there might be a guy that you can get enough points from that might be relatively unknown or lower projected, which is what we're going to try to look for. But in general, I think the top 10 is going to be pretty solid in terms of world golf.
You guys ready to get into some of these picks?
Sorry, I disconnected there for a second. I was trying to press the delete button. I accidentally pressed the power button on my laptop there.
I thought you weren't talking.
No, that was a mistake there. It was because I was typing in the chat to someone because I missed their post there, and I meant to delete it. I mistyped there, and so anyway, we're back. So I heard all that, and I hope we were live the whole time. I'm pretty sure we were because when I came back, it was normal. So good stuff, guys. That's real good. Do you guys want to start at the top, or do you want to talk about chalk, or you guys can? We can go wherever. It doesn't matter.
I think we just said we could start with the the picks are top at the top right now or whatever.
Right. Well, I meant like at. Sorry. I meant like kind of combined, like so, like in the top range. I think actually that's tough. The highest owned out of everyone 10K plus, I think, is going to be Daniel Berger. I don't see any. Maybe Lee. I think a lot of people are going to start with Lee. Maybe Lee in the sharp, like the high dollars. I think Lee's going to be a higher owned, but Berger probably in the smaller dollars, just because there's no course history on Berger and the stats. Danny Lee's a stat guy, so we'll see. I don't know, but it's one of the two, obviously. What do you guys take on that, real quick?
Yeah, no,
go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree. It's just the problem with this is like I like Berger, obviously. I like Lee. I like Harmon too. I like a lot of these guys at the top. It's just fitting, like making a lineup I feel comfortable with Berger in my lineup. I can't make a lineup that I personally feel comfortable with, and I'm doing a single bullet too, so that's part of the reason why. But yeah, no, I like pretty much everybody at the top. I think Kisner will go a little bit lower owned since he burned a lot of people last week. His stats still line up for the course. Harmon's a great play, as we talked about the aces and everything. So everybody at the top, I like everybody at the top. How you feel about it, Seth?
Yeah, actually, I was kind of glad to see Kisner miss last week because I think he will go a little under owned. I'm hoping because of everyone up there. I think he's got the best all around game. And let me go back to where I was a minute ago. Yeah, he's 24th in the world. And yeah, I mean, he's all green all the way across. He's got every stat covered pretty much. I don't know what happened last week.
Yeah, I don't know.
These things happen, the best players in the world, they don't make every single cut unless you're Tiger Woods from a few years ago. So they're going to miss eventually. And usually after a miss, the ones that make most of the cuts, they come back and they start up a new streak. So yeah, I think of all the top guys up there, I'm probably gonna be on Kisner the most, and I'm not even doing that many lineups this week just because I'm not 100% comfortable with this event.
Yeah,
I mean, we got the field here. Like I said, I mean, we got like 5-6 guys that should take it. One of the 5. And then the rest of them, you're almost throwing darts, Yeah,
you pretty much are. At a certain price point, you're just throwing darts.
Yeah, basically. So, if I have to pick a guy from up top, I kind of want, and I got to go back to my ownership trend and say, I want to get the lower owned of the 4 guys over 10. I mean, I don't like fading any of these guys. I think Danny Lee's been playing great. Berger obviously is solid. And, Harmon, he's great too, but I just think that if I had to pick out of the four, it's got to be Kisner for me.
So, real quick, you think Kisner is going to be lower owned than Harmon? Because I agree those are going to be the two lowest owned, but you think Kisner is going to be lower owned than?
It's hard to say. I mean, basically, I'm basing it on the fact that he missed last week and he didn't play the 2 weeks prior, and then 4 weeks ago, I'm looking at it, he had a 58th. He's a lot better than that. I mean, people are going to look at that and they're going to say, wow, his recent form isn't that great. Maybe he's kind of slumping right now. But I don't think so. I just don't feel that way. I think he'll bounce back well. I'm sure he wants to be in top form for the Open.
Right. Real quick, if you had to guess, since we're talking about putting, it's going to be impossible, so I don't actually want you guys to guess, but the number one guy in strokes gained putting in the last 24 rounds at the TPC Deere Run.
Who is that?
Appleby.
Is he in this event?
Yes.
Wow.
This is all in the field. These are, by the way, this is like number one in the field. This doesn't do these guys by like in general. So guys like Spieth are not on this list, even though he destroyed this event 2 for 2 wins. So Kelly Craft, actually one of my favorite plays. I don't want to give him away that early since we're still in the top range, but he's second there. I just want to give that up. But I did actually bring that up for a reason, because we were talking about birdies or eagles made or something like that, and it's surprisingly none of these studs are up there. I mean, this isn't really a stud. Usually the studs don't. These guys aren't even studs, but these higher priced guys aren't really up there except for Harmon, just because he's won the event, really. But I guess you can attribute that to. I should just be quiet. I guess you can just attribute that to like not really the highest profile event. You don't get the studs all the time, so like you only have Harmon, the only guy above 9,300's love mark. Then it's Harmon in the top 15. So, and Eagles gained. So, very interesting. I think more balanced approach is going to be the way to go this week. So, I am probably going to be fading Daniel Berger. Hard to fade in a single bullet, though. Obviously, you're going to have to fade 3 out of the 4, maybe even more if you start down low with Stricker, and then we'll get to that range in a second, obviously, guys. But for me, I am fading Berger. Just so we can wrap this up real quick. I am playing on draft where there's a lot of snake drafts. I have a lot of drafts to this week. I really loved that because they had on draft, they have this like projected scoring, and they had guys like Danny Lee and Charlie Hoffman in the 50s, while Howell and like Lovemark in the 60s. So guys that didn't know what they were doing are taking these guys. I'm just dropping down and taking these anyway. So Kisner, I really like Kisner this week. The only thing I'm worried about, similar to Stricker, is if he can keep up that pace of birdie, like if he can get us multiple birdie streaks. I'm not worried about the eagle. I think Kisner can get us some eagles, but and I really like Danny Lee. The only problem with Danny Lee is I feel like he's a fantasy darling at this point, just spitting out good finish after good finish, playing week after week. Price highest we've ever seen, but for good merit, like 3 top 40s. Yeah, excuse me, in his recent game log, 2 top like 15s in his last 2. So I see the merit there. Other than that, I think I'm gonna be fading Berger. I in a snake draft format, like if I'm playing if I'm choosing someone to win, I'm choosing Daniel Berger, but his volatility into account, I will not be doing that. And if he's the one that kills me, so be it. I'll know that's why I lost. It's not going to be a conjunction of guys, because I think everyone around him I have a better stance on. So that's what I got up top. You guys ready to get down into below 10K, or any things you want to add on real quick?
Yeah, and like I was saying, I'm doing a single bullet. So for me personally, I like everybody in the top 4, but I'm going to be fading all 4 of these guys for my single bullet.
Right. Honestly, when I made, I don't want to drag it on any longer here in the top range, but when I made my very first lineup when the prices came out, I saw on Twitter they came out like Monday evening. I just fiddled around, looked at the prices, and my first guy I put in there, no lie, was Charlie Hoffman. This was before he was projected to be one of the highest owned guys. I just threw him in there, didn't know the Vegas odds. I started at 9,700. I took him, Ben Martin, a couple other guys, Kelly Craft in that range. So Guys I'm still high on. Charlie Hoffman a little less, but I can definitely agree. My first instinct and still right now is actually to fade all the 10K guys. Because if neither of them win, it's probably going to be in that 9K range. And here we go with the 9K range, guys. We got if you're not looking at it, we just got Steve Stricker, Charlie Hoffman, Kyle Stanley, Love Mark, Ryan Moore, Zach Johnson, and last Charles Howell III. Which one of you guys want to start? We'll start with Seth this time. I think Andrew started last time, so Seth, you take over this time to start. What's your favorite, and just wherever you want to go? Favorite, least favorite, fade, whatever you want to do, man.
Well, I really like Charles Howell.
Right, he's going to be probably the lowest owned. Not to interrupt you there, he might be the lowest owned out of all of those guys too, except maybe Ryan Moore. Go ahead though. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, well, Ryan Moore might get the defending champ ownership.
Right, from the newbie. I get that, but he's been injured with a shoulder injury for golf. That's a little.
Yeah, that's true.
But go ahead. Sorry, I keep interrupting you.
Zach Johnson's got like a stellar course record here, but he's getting older. I don't really know if I can trust him to go really low. I'm just basically looking for guys that are a little more aggressive. I don't see him as being that aggressive guy. He kind of falls into that Stricker category where it's like, let's try to not make bogeys and stay in the event. So, I mean, I don't know if I can – let me see actually what he's been doing as far as birdies. Yeah, he doesn't make a whole lot of par 4 birdies. He's got like in the last 8 weeks or so on par 4s, he's looking like he's well over par. So I'm not really interested in him. Charles Howell has been playing great. I mean, he's up and down, but he's definitely an aggressive player. I mean, look at this par 5 birdie count. Everything. He's always under par, well under par. And on the par 4s too. I mean, he plays well. He's got a high green and regulation percentage, which is key here. Whoever didn't see that, I posted that in the thread, how important it is to be hitting the greens. Because I'll go back here and I'll show it again. Here's last year. Forget about everything else, and you take the guys that are hitting greens. If you take these 6 guys here, and I'm sure you could have afforded them, just the green and regulation stats alone. I mean, look at the lineup you could have had. And it was the same thing the year before. Goes back like 3 years like that. So that trend is definitely in play.
Kim really gets 3rd place. Oh no, that's just sorry. You're looking at stats. Sorry, I'm
no. Well, he had a T3.
Oh no, wait. Oh, no, that's green and regulation percentage. Or that's sorry.
But he did have a T3. No, this is actually his finish.
Oh no way! Is he in the field this week?
This is what I'm saying. I mean, look at the finishes.
Is he in the field this week?
I don't think so.
No, I was gonna say, boys, there's our value.
No, but look at the correlation. I mean, if you didn't notice when I put it up earlier, because nobody even made a comment on it, and I thought it would like get a big buzz because this is like just sorted by green regulation and nothing else. And you've got 1, 3, 5, 8, 3. I mean, how correlated can you get? Much more correlated can you get than that? You don't see that in too many events. You'll see like a 20th, 30th, on any kind of stat that you sort. Like here's driving accuracy. It doesn't really matter. 64th. Putting. You don't want this guy. 56. That's not going to help you. Yardage. Driving distance. It's not going to really help you. But greens and regulation, if you're striking the ball well, and this is what I'm looking for, are guys that are striking it well, tee to green, and hitting those greens. Because if you can hit a high number of greens, obviously you have more of an opportunity to make birdies. Because the more greens you hit, obviously, the more birdie opportunities you're going to get. And this is where you want to make those birdies more than anywhere, and they're easier to get, especially when you're hitting the greens. So definitely try to find the guys that have been hitting these greens.
Right. That you showed that, and I never saw that actually. I didn't see that in the group, but man, that is that is one of the most correlated stats I've actually seen to a finish.
Yeah, here I'll go back a year before.
But I did want to just real quick while you do that, I just want to say strokes gained putting I just brought up for the last 50 rounds, and the number one is Danny Lee. So that's I think that may attribute to his being the chalkiest. I will say real quick though, I switched it to the last 24 rounds, and he's not number one. It just glitched out on me though. It's Billy Hurley followed by Kisner actually. So if we're trying to follow that hot putter, we might be on something with Kisner, especially if it's going to be easy greens. But go ahead there. Sorry, man.
Yeah, here you go. Here's 2014.
Let's take
sorted by greens and regulation. I mean, look at the finishes.
Harmon first. You got the leader again.
Yep.
A third, fifth, seventh, seventh. All right.
I mean, you're going to win with that.
So who's because you have the stats up right now, who's some of our guys right now that are leading in green and regulation?
Well, I filtered it out. I went recent and long term, and I got down to 81 guys. And then I was just sorting by birdies from those guys. And believe it or not, Jeff Ogilvy, who nobody's talking about, is the top rated guy based on that.
I will say he was written up. Jeff Ogilvy was written up in my, I don't know if I'm allowed to give this out, but he was written up in my paid subscription for Fantasy Golf Insider. So you are on a very solid track. I don't know if I have the nads to play him in a 1 or 2 entry like I'm doing, but man, I don't want to curse again, but I fuck with what you're saying there, man. Sell me on him right now.
Well, he had a 16th last year. He doesn't miss too many cuts. Let me see, he's putting very well. I mean, he's got no 30s, so he definitely can putt. And obviously can putt because I sorted this by birdies, and he's got the highest birdie count of anybody. So I mean, I'm definitely taking him a shot with him in one of my 3 lines, and he's going to be hardly owned at all.
Yeah, you probably convinced me to put him in. I'll probably give him a look.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Because I'm looking at the rest of this list, and I have some of these guys, like, of course, Kevin Knockout Stanley. But yeah, are you still that your choice for those?
Well, yeah, I like Charles Howell quite a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, in that range. So that's my guy from that range.
So for me, you guys know how much I love my boy Kyle Stanley. Just came off of a win, so that's the big narrative question right there. Is it was an emotional win too. I don't know if you guys saw the interview; he was crying and everything. But the big question is he going to come off the win, and is he going to be content and kind of get cut, and then kind of start his his reign of solid events? So that's a big question. And a side note, I don't know, have you guys actually started looking at the Open Championship?
Not really. I embarrassingly enough, I have not started. But I did reserve, actually, if we go too long tonight, I'm gonna get shut out because I haven't filled my Euro spots. But I got one. I'm doing a single bullet for the Euro, and I think it starts like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to do that just basically to keep myself focused on the guys over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But have you started looking?
Yeah, I actually was looking today and a little bit yesterday. But Kyle Stanley is $6,600.
Wow.
Next week. Brandon Steele is $6,800. So just a little heads up for next week. But yeah. So that's what I'm happy about is that he's playing this week. So if he does have those nerves and everything, he should be ready for next week. So I will be playing him next week, and I will be taking him again this week. His stats line up again, and of course, this is my guy. In this range, of course, like we guys talking about Ryan Moore, he's coming off injury, so it can be hit or miss. And then Charles Howell, like you guys are talking about, Dexter in this range. Actually, big question that everybody wants to know. What do you guys think about Steve Stricker, man? Because this is his course, man. Like, and his history, his is not too bad. T16 off the U.S. Open.
No, it's extremely attractive to look at his
Yeah.
his course form here. I mean, he's had a pretty good year, but you know, as good as his year has been this year, pardon the redundancy, but he hasn't put up over 70 more than twice. Except way down here at the this is going back to the British level. They put the majors in here.
Can you guys hear me real quick? My mic keeps going out, but am I good?
Yeah, you're good now.
All right, sorry. Yeah, I was talking, and I guess no one could. I don't know what was going on, but I did want to see real quick, since we're in that range, we were talking about green and regulations, and on this course in the last 24 rounds in green and regulations, it goes Johnson, Wagner, Zach Johnson, Chad Kimball, and then KJ Choi and Brian Harmon. So those are the top 5. Brian, yeah, then followed by Ches Reavie, Camilo Villegas, and then we get into some other names. But just wanted to put that out there, and back to whatever. Sorry about that. I just wanted to, before we got on to something completely else there. But let's see.
That's good to know.
So yeah, you guys asked me about my plays in that 9 range. Okay, so for me, it's tough to say my favorite. I will say that I am going to be playing Zach Johnson. If he stays under 20% owned, I'm going to play him a lot. I'm going to go overweight for sure. Especially, I mean, obviously I'm only playing 1 or 2 lineups. I will be overweight no matter who I play, really. But other than him, Charlie Hoffman's probably my other favorite. I don't want to just throw out too many names, but the only ones you'd probably see in my lineup are those 2. I will be fading Kyle Stanley personally. Nothing against him. I love his game. Even gave him a little shout out on Twitter, even though it's for me. I'm not really packing too much heat, but he has a solid game. The interview he gave was really enlightening and showed like the true feeling of golf, and it's not just guys with no feelings showing up and winning a bunch of money and just wash, rinse, repeat sense like that. It's not like that. Like some of these guys, it's real life for them. They sacrifice a lot. So for some of these guys, it's not about the money, and that's why I was kind of mad that a lot of people made joke of Grayson Murray's little anxiety thing. Like I get it, he withdrew at the wrong time. It was just a whole thing, but I just move on from it. I don't sit there and make fun of a kid for it. So anyway, I do like a little Ryan Moore if he's going to be the lowest owned. It's hard to project. I will say I am going to open FanShare Sports right now and try to get a grasp on that. But if Ryan Moore, if I can project this by I make my rosters, right now I'm probably going to go Zach Johnson. But if I can figure something out to where I think Ryan Moore is going to be the lowest owned, I might start my lineup, I hate to say it, with Ryan Moore, because then I can play the chalkiest guys in the middle and get away with it. So I like Ryan Moore, I guess, but no Love Mark, no Stanley for me. And I know ACP, you asked me about Stricker, so I saved him for last. Howe is a good play. He's the cheapest out of them, and he's the only one that's made every single cut on out of the tour this year. So I like him. Consistent play. 59th in green regulations gained on this course. Not terrible, not good. Doesn't really stand out on anything. Driving distance, he's 3rd, actually. So Howell's a decent play. I like that. So just to move on, though, 2 favorite, Hoffman and Ryan Moore. Hoffman and Zach Johnson. Ryan Moore is kind of my iffy. I know he won the event last year, so like Seth said, that might garner more ownership. But then again, on the other side, he's been injured for 2 months, only played 1 event. So we'll see. And to Steve Stricker before he dropped down to the next range. Steve Stricker, it's either him or Hoffman, I think, is going to be the highest owned. And I think maybe Danny Lee, but Steve Stricker over Hoffman, I'd say. So Steve Stricker, as we all know, or many of us know, he's on the senior tour right now, and he's smashing the senior tour. It's only him and like Bernard Lager and Fred Couples that are really contending each week. So Steve Stricker,
they're playing like mini golf out there.
right, and he's the definition of the course horse for this event. There's a lot of them actually, but he kind of takes the cake. 3 straight wins from 2009 to 2011.
Not so good after that.
What was that?
Not so great after that. I mean, he made all the cuts, but
right.
the finishes weren't
if
great.
you look at it, every finish, I believe, actually got
gone
worse.
up. Yeah,
and
got worse. And actually,
each one slowly.
Does everybody see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, you see with that big bright orange right there? That's Steve Stricker birdie or better percentage. 158. Doesn't look good to me. He's a guy that can go out and be real steady and make a lot of pars, put in enough birdies to do well in tournaments that are like 11 to 15 under. You're at a course where they're going 20 to 25 under. He's not cut out for that. I mean, he was one of the top 5 golfers in the world, but he's not a young guy anymore. You know, he's got to go out there for 4 days and just make birdie after birdie. I'm not seeing it. I mean, will he do it? Maybe, but I'd be very shocked. Especially since he's trending backwards on this course.
Plus, the ownership's going to be higher than we've seen. His price is higher than we've seen. We get it, the course history is there, but in a GPP, I can't do it.
Look, Zach Johnson was great at Augusta. You're going to load him up every time?
Right. Well, Steve Stricker is a little more consistent, but I know what you mean. That you're right.
No, I mean at Augusta is what I mean.
Right, exactly. It's specifically course history.
Yeah.
I get you. And I mean, it was kind of like I know I mentioned KJ Choi as being like 3rd in greens or something like that, but it was like him at that one event. He was like 17. I cannot recall off the top of my head. I think it was the RBC or maybe the event in Houston, the Houston Open. He was like 17 for 17 in cuts made, but he was like 7 missed cuts in a row. It's like, are you really going to take him at mid price? All he needs is the cut made, and he made the cut. But anyway, let's drop down into that next range right below Charles Howell, anywhere from 8 to 9K. A good bit of names, but not that much substance in my opinion. It looks loaded. In my opinion, it looked loaded at first, but once I dove down into it, there were a couple guys that just wrote off immediately. So, ACP, you start this time, man. What you got for us?
My single entry mindset. There's a lot of decent plays in here. Chesby, Bud Colley, Streelman coming off the week he had. Ben Martin is somebody that really interests me. But I think at this price point, I think I'm gonna be sticking with Kevin Na. And I mean, Bubba's Bubba. I won't be playing him, but it's Bubba. And then Ben Martin is probably my other second favorite play from this price point. So Kevin Na and Ben Martin are my 2 favorite plays.
All right, Seth. Any agreement, disagreement, thoughts? What you got, man?
Well, you said Na and who else?
Ben Martin.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to stay away from Ben Martin. Na, I like a lot. I'm just afraid he's going to be like heavy chalk, especially at that price. He's well underpriced. I don't see why he's even. I can't understand why he's that low, to be honest with you. Has he played poorly here?
I think it's recent form. But I don't even think that's that bad. I think all I remember is that withdrawal he had.
He's actually gotten better over the last. Well, he's only played 16, 14, 2008.
I think it's a misprice.
Yeah, I think it is, and I think that's what's going to drive his ownership even higher.
On draft, he was the 2nd highest projected, like 63, right behind Berger. It was weird, but in like Vegas odds, he's like 40 or 50 to 1. So I'm not sure. But go ahead, Seth. I'll take your time here. Go ahead.
No, I mean this whole range here is tough for me. I mean, I'm not thrilled with any of these guys. I don't like a lot of their stats. Kevin Na is the one that stands out the most, but then again, his potential ownership might be really high. And sometimes you can get a feel for a guy that people are going to say, "Oh man, this guy is going to be so chalky. I'm just going to lay off." And it turns out that he's not as chalky as everybody thought. Because at the last minute, or a lot of people pivot off the guy. But I don't think is one of those guys. I think he's just people locked him in. They feel safe putting him in there. There's a few guys that are like safety plays, and I don't really like those kind of plays because that's where you get the high ownership. Stricker is like a safety play. Everybody sees him making all the cuts. He's done great here. And I don't want to be on those guys because I'd rather not just try, especially in GPP. I mean, in cash, different story. I mean, Kevin Na all day, and maybe even Stricker. But I don't know if I can take him. I mean, I'd go Nick Watney, even though he's not in the 8,000 and up range. He's 100 less. But I like Nick Watney over Kevin Na, actually.
You like Nick Watney? Yeah, I could see that.
I don't like the stat on his birdie or better. That kind of scares me away.
Real quick, Jordan Lucas in the chat said that Kevin Na has 32 tags with 27 starts and 1 sit on Fanshare Sports right now.
Yeah, I'm
Jordan,
off.
real quick, can you say I'm still fiddling around with that myself, but that's got to be one of the highest tagged golfers on the website, right? Because my original thoughts were Kevin Na was going to be top 5 highest owned, and just because you need to put these studs, no one's going to go under 9K to create a lineup because there's no need to do that. So everyone's going to have at least one guy above 9K, and you're going to have guys in that 8K range. And I'm big on I'm going to kind of loop it into my favorite 8K to 9K plays real quick. It's Ben Martin as well. Not still any Thunder, but that was one of the guys I had in my lineup early as well. He's doing phenomenal right now. He's kind of like Kelly Craft. I'm going to try to catch these guys in form on an easy course just to boost their confidence a little bit. These guys are fighting for their tour card, a little narrative I like as well. Lesser known golfers. So for me, most of my focus, I'm only really going to be focusing on Ben Martin this range. I will say, since I'm only running 1 or 2 lineups, it's really just going to be him. A little thought to Ches Reavie. I'd really like Bud Cauley before I heard he was sick. And this is that whole bullshit narrative where what happened to us with Charlie Hoffman a couple weeks ago. He was the big course horse at the Houston Open, supposedly pulled out of the Pro-Am. Then he goes out there and finishes 3rd. And so now I'm the dumbass, like, all right, Bud Cauley pull out the Pro-Am. Like, he's feeling ill, posted an Instagram picture of, like, Robitussin and some other shit, some soda or ginger ale or something like that. Like, what do I take of this? He can go out there in top 5 or he can withdraw. So, and I will say this real quick. This is one of those events for the guys that are going to be playing in Europe. This event will not be over until Monday. Well, technically Monday in Europe. So by the time they get out there, it is going to be it is going to be a 6-hour time difference. It's going to be some jet lag. We said this. I think we said this a few weeks ago as well, that there might be some withdrawals, and we were lucky that we didn't have any. So I would just say, guys, if you can, I'm obviously getting to the point where I might be asleep at 8 in the morning, but lock's kind of late. It's not 6 or 7. Luckily this morning it's at 8:10. So if you can set that alarm for 8 o'clock and make sure all your guys are in, especially those guys below 8 or 8.5K probably, you'll be straight. But Ben Martin for me, Bud Cauley a little bit, Ches Reavie. I'm going back and forth. I think he might be one of the lowest owned, other than David Hearn, who David Hearn owes me a little bit of money, and that sounds stupid, but I played him in those big field tournaments where he was like 6,700, 6,800, where I was just playing him for upside, and he never gave it to me. So at 8,200, I feel like a dumbass playing him. So I probably won't my one or two entries. But I wouldn't hate it. I think he can make some birdies. And in that range, obviously, I got to end with Kevin Na. Chalky's playing that range, guaranteed highest owned out of anyone from 8 to 9K. And I don't know what to say about him. I think he's the best golfer in that range, skill wise, talent wise, birdie wise. He's a great ball striker, which does well. I just don't think I know we just talked about it. You don't want to play dude just on ownership, but in that range, if he doesn't really do well with his ownership, I think I can go around it because I personally am projecting Kelly Craft to do very well, and that's what I got for why I'm fading Kevin Na. I just like guys under and a couple guys above him, like Ben Martin's my favorite guy in that range, just for upside play, and that's what I got. So Jordan did say Na has the 7th most tags this week. And he goes, Brian, Berger, Lee, Stricker, Campbell, Stanley, Harmon, and Kraft are the – oh, fuck, Kelly Craft. Man, I can't play a chalky Kelly Craft. But I think Wesley Bryan will be the chalkiest on the slate, but let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Anything you guys got to add into the 8 to 9K range before we move on down below a little bit?
Nah, that was it.
8, actually – did we just totally miss Ches Reavie? I guess we did.
No, he talked about Ches.
Yeah,
Ches did he? Okay.
Birdie maker. I didn't talk about specific stats, out. So if you have actual stats, let them fly. I just said that I do like him, but Ben Martin's my real thought. But sell me even more because Ches Reavie, he's actually given me money. I've played him only a few times, and all those 3 or 4 times I've played him, they've been good. So
no, he's good on in par 4 stat. And total putting, he's been good. Although putting, I don't put too much into because all these guys can putt, especially on a course like this.
Actually, no, Luke List actually putting, he's doing really well on this course. No wonder guys are going to play him.
Believe it or not, Luke List is actually a sneaky player. He can bomb it. He's longer than Bubba Watson.
Sure.
I mean, he's definitely a good GPP play.
There's some GPP plays down low that are phenomenal strokes game putters on this course, but you wouldn't suspect them to be good plays like Willie Wilcox. Guys like, I don't know. It's just a little weird, but I don't want to get off topic here. But, yeah, so Ches Reavie, if you have any stats to add on him.
I would just, basically his best stat on here as far as the key stats according to Fantasy Fanatics is par 4. Par 4 scoring, 23rd.
He's 13th in the last 24 rounds in DK points, 8 in strokes gained total, 7th in tee to green. And this is all on Deere Run, specific to the course. He's not good around the green, but hopefully we don't even need to worry about that. Should just hit all the greens from the fairway.
He's definitely worthy of consideration.
Actually, he's only golfed this event 3 years, 2012, 13, and 15, it looks like. Ches Reavie. So he doesn't have that much. When I searched the last 24 rounds, I was looking for 6 years of information, but they only have 7 rounds of information. So it's not too much to go by, honestly. He's in the green, top 13 in all the main strokes gain stats, off the tee approach. The only ones that he's not so good at are putting and around the green. All specific to Deere Run, though, of course. Nothing from other courses. And real quick, I will bring up his birdie bogey rate because I think Ches Reavie, does very well at that. Yeah, he's 9th in eagles in his 7 rounds. Sorry, I'm going to search the name there. 9th and 8th in birdies. So a lot of these guys, real quick, I think this is actually very interesting. Ches Reavie might just turn the boat for me. If you go to the Eagles for the TPC, this is all on FantasyNational.com. A great beta they just created. This is like the new, I'm sorry, but there is no such thing as Fantasy Labs anymore. And I hate to say that, but this is combining all the stats. This is the PGA website in one mixed with Fantasy Labs. This is the new move. So shout out Moosenomics on Twitter. Give him a follow. Even Fantasy National, give them a follow on Twitter. This is some good stuff. So real quick, if you search Eagles gain and scroll from the top 12 in the last 24 rounds, or just scroll through all of them, but Ches Reavie, there's very surprising. Most of the guys that are in the top in the Eagles veer off in birdies. So guys like Morgan Hoffman, who's number 1 in eagles gained on TPC or Deere Run in the last 24 rounds, 14th in birdies. Willie Wilcox, 2nd in eagles, 33rd in birdies. Billy Hurley, third in eagles, 113th in birdies. Everyone declines, big declines. Like Bob Gates, sixth, 47th in birdies. Martin Flores, sixth and 54th in birdies. Then we get to Ches Reavie. He's ninth in eagles, but eighth in birdies. He's the only one for about 20 guys where it actually is roughly the same or better. So it's almost a guaranteed birdie or eagle, it looks like, for Ches Reavie on this course. In terms of statistics, no guys. It's really the studs like Summer Hayes and Ryan Moore are 17th and 19th in eagles, but third in birdies. They're tied for third in birdies. So very interesting to look at there. I will say real quick, just to round it off, Ches Reavie does have a problem with double bogeys. On this course, he is ranked 65th out of the field in double bogeys. That's weird, but I don't know. So that I don't want to go too long on one guy there, but I think Ches Reavie will be one of the lowest owned in that range, and I think that might be a good play because I think Ben Martin's getting a little too much talk up, especially with the touts. So, but I really like him, so I'm gonna run it. But that's what I got for that. So, you guys ready to get down into that value range there, right below 8K?
Sure. Yeah, there's a lot of 7K.
Oh yeah. I was gonna split it up to about 7,500. So we'll go all the way from Nick Watney there. I hope Fantasy National has them in the order of DK. I hope they do. All the way down to Romero at 75. So Patrick Rogers at 74 is our cutoff right there, and everything above that. So Seth, you can start it this time, and wherever you want to take it, man. Since we got a good little amount of players.
Let's see here. Where are you starting from? Nick Watney down?
7,900. Anyone in 79 to 75. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So I like Chad Campbell. He's been talked about a little more than I'd like. Let's see. I don't want to miss anybody. Lucas Glover has been kind of quiet. Haven't heard much chatter about him, but I do like him here. I was looking at different stats. He fits well. Let me just see how he's done here. Yeah, he hasn't done very well here at all. So his course history is not that good, but he has been playing pretty well this year. Wagner we talked about. Wow, his
Wagner is fucking. It's hard not to play him, man. It really is. His stats are gnarly for this course.
Yeah, but I mean, look at his season is absolutely
shit.
Terrible.
I know, man. I'm fading him too. Go ahead.
I mean, he's had one good finish, it looks like, at the Quicken. He had a fifth. And it's like all red missed cuts here. I know that, like, you know where you see him is when you're looking first thing on Thursday morning and you're like, Johnson Wagner leading the friggin' tournament out of the gate. And then you don't see him anymore after like a few hours.
Right.
Ever again. You know, he's not even a good first round bet because he usually, I don't know, I guess he's gone off early a lot. And I always see him up there at the top, but he fades away every single time.
You want to hear some funny shit? They moved Scott Brown from first round leader all the way to 66-1 now. Pat Mayo's got a pretty fucking big following on that on those first round leader bets. Like
yeah.
Scott Brown at 7K on DK. No one the guys at first round leader at 66-1 are guys like Ryan Moore, guys that can actually win the tournament. And they have Scott Brown, like guys in his range, like Kelly Craft is at like 80-1 or so. There's just like gnarly stuff, man. It's
yeah, he's the first round king. Him and who else was it? Yeah, Ricky Barnes and Boo Weekley. Although Boo Weekley went pretty deep a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, some people are talking about value for Bo Weekly, but anyway, so yeah, in that 7K, 7.5 to 7.9 range. Other than Campbell, what else are you looking at there?
Let's see here.
And Wagner a little bit. Well, actually, real quick, you think you're gonna play Wagner, or are you gonna be fading him?
I don't know. I got to look at it. I don't think I'm playing. No, I got to say no. I hope he's high owned because I don't think he's gonna. I mean, you said he's got awesome course history.
Oh my! Oh yeah! number one in birdies. Like,
Yeah, he had a 7.55. It's pretty damn good.
yeah.
Yeah, he could definitely make some. He can go low. But why does he play like shit everywhere else? I don't get it.
No, last week he had the exact same course history. Phenomenal for the course last week, and shit the bed
You mean? Oh, okay.
at the Greenbrier. Yeah.
There you go.
So it's
Yeah.
weird. But at his price, you can kind of take that risk. I mean, not in a single lineup, I wouldn't be doing it, but yeah. So let's keep. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry. I keep interrupting you. I gotta stop doing that.
No, that's all right. I don't mind you interjecting on these things. What are we going all the way down to 7?
7.5. Stop at Romero there,
Okay.
or whoever you got at the bottom of 7.5.
Yeah, I got Romero at 7.5. Oh, Nick Taylor. I was looking at him. I like Nick Taylor this week in that range.
Right. Last few weeks always been contending. So
Yeah,
kind of falls off though on Sunday. Hasn't really put that round in where you're like, holy shit. But
I think he had a 16th here the only time he played, right?
I actually don't. I don't have the course.
No. I'm mixed up with somebody else. It wasn't him. I think that was maybe Nick Watney. He missed the cut last year here, actually, and he missed the cut twice in a row, actually. So no, his course history is not good, but that doesn't really scare me off him because he's been playing well. His recent form is not bad. So yeah, I think for a lower owned GPP play, he's not too bad.
Right. So ACP, what you got, man?
So like I said, I'm doing single entries, but just for GPP plays, in this range, Nick Watney, I like him. I've seen a lot of people talking about Bryson.
Yeah,
I won't be playing him.
Brought it up. I'm sorry to interrupt, but Roy just.
Yeah, he just asked about it. Yeah, I personally won't be playing Bryson, but his last 3 events been playing phenomenal. I don't know what his course history is here, if he even has any here.
I could tell you. Hang on one second.
He's only playing.
But yeah.
Once missed the cut last year, 2015, only time playing.
Yeah, I personally won't be playing him, but I am just doing a single entry, 1 bullet. McGirt is worth a look. I mean, we all know McGirt, man. Like, he'll have a great first 2 days and then just gradually fall off. So I won't be playing McGirt, but he is worth a look at that price point, and especially in this field. Nick Taylor is a good play. Kevin Tway is interesting to me. I won't be playing him, but I'm curious to see how he does on this course in this field. I don't know if you guys have any inputs on Kevin Tway this week.
That's actually what I was going to ask you guys about. To me, I haven't heard a whisper about Kevin Tway, man.
No, he fell off. I mean,
yeah, like he's been shit recently.
Yeah, he hasn't been awful, but he's not as hot as he was for those few weeks.
I mean, yeah, if you look at it, he's only had one. He only did this course in 2015 as well.
2011, 2014. He missed the cut in 2011. And he had a 52nd in 2014.
Oh, good call. Yeah, I'm looking. Are you on Labs looking at that?
No, I'm looking at Fantasy Fanatics.
Oh, yeah, I'm on National and the new beta site, and I guess I just may not have learned it yet. I might be looking at the wrong information. Oh no, here it is. Kevin Tway, John Deere. Okay, he had nothing until 2014. He got a T52, and then they only have their last 5 years, so that's why it only showed. All right, so yeah, it's all red in his stats for this event. DK points, he's 108th in the field. Strokes gained total 104th. Tee to green 102nd. Off the tee 116th. Approach 61st. Around the green 95th. And strokes gained putting 98th. That is weird because Kevin Tway was known as a birdie maker, had a very solid birdie percentage. So I think, well, since I'm like ACP here, I'm only running 1 or 2 lineups. Really got to conserve money for the major coming up next week. I'm not going to be trying to win that 15, 20 grand that when next week there's going to be triple that. So I won't be playing Kevin Tway, but let's just say if this was next week or something, like if this was a situation where I'm looking at this guy's stats and I got the money to spend, like if I'm throwing 10 lineups out there, Kevin Tway is going to be in one. Probably in a cash lineup where I'm going to go Kelly Kraft at 7,700, but I'm just going to be like switch those two. So I'll probably have guys like Danny Lee in there with Ben Martin and Streelman. Just certain cash plays that I wouldn't really do GPP. Like I wouldn't be playing Streelman in a GPP, but I would play Tway. Yes, I like him actually, and I like how he's getting no exposure, but my bankroll is not there, so I won't be able to play Kevin Tway in my entries. I just can't risk having my lineup be dead within 45 minutes of him teeing off with +5. So real quick, to veer into my quick favorites there, I actually do not have that much in that range. I do actually. I have not played DeChambeau, and I've seen what he's been doing recently, and I don't really believe in it. But this week in this field, I think he can contend, and he's still not a high price. I was expecting him to maybe hit 8,500, be close to that upper range. I mean, they got Brian Harmon at 11 almost. I mean, they got David Hearn above DeChambeau, which could be arguable in my opinion. So I think DeChambeau's, but he is going to garner that ownership. The ownership is going to be higher. It's not like we're getting him at a suppressed rate like we would with Matt Jones this week, because Matt Jones, great, or not great, but a lot of course history. He's done 10 rounds here. Let's see, he's 10th in green regulations gained in this course. I like that as a good pivot from DeChambeau. My favorite play, though, I will say again, is Kelly Kraft in this range. I am not touching anyone in my, like, I'm literally kind of telling you guys what my single entry is, but hopefully you guys don't piece it together so we're not running the same lineup here. But my favorite play, Kelly Kraft. And I love how ACP also really quick brought up McGirt, because I can all but guarantee you McGirt eagles 1 or 2 holes Thursday or Friday. It's just if he can keep up with the birdies. And that's what we need to see. I'm not going to be playing him. I think other guys in this range can. Guys like Johnson Wagner supposedly can. I will not be playing him just because ownership is going to be too high. Last week, it was the same narrative. Great course history, great fit supposedly, and goes out there and misses an MC. So no interest for me. No Lucas Glover. No Romero. I think is the sneakiest play here, other than Tway, but just too risky for me. I do believe he actually has good history here, though. I am going to bring it up here. Let's see. Mine's probably not as quick because it's on the Fantasy National here. But T67 last year, T45 2014, and T44 in 2013. So 3 for 3 made cuts in his last 3 events here. So, I mean, not obviously, again, not a single bullet for me, but I can see some merit in a 3 entry max, maybe throwing that one dart at sub 3, 4, 5% ownership. So yeah, so that's what I got there. Any full on fade for me actually is just Wagner. I mean, everyone else I can kind of see you playing. I mean, the only one that I don't is Ryan Palmer. He's at the highest of that range at 7,900, and everyone under him I'd play before him. Even Chesson Hadley, a local guy from my state out here in North Carolina, a Raleigh guy, used to be on the PGA Tour, but similar to Ian Poulter, had his tour card rescinded. Played on the web.com tour a little bit. Won last week, actually. So he was able to get into this week's event. Sneaky play, I guess. I mean, I haven't been following him on the web.com tour, but in this field, he's your average golfer. No stats stand out. He does have some course history. Only golfed this event once. Actually, he golfed it twice. Missed the cut last 2 years. He has 4 rounds. I thought it was one he golfed it, made the cut, and that's why it was 4 rounds. But it was twice missing the cut both times. So I don't even know why I waste my time on that. I will not be playing him. And that's all I got in that range. Chad Campbell, as Seth mentioned before, ACP's talk there. Great play. I am as well worried with his ownership. And I will say, I think the highest owned guys in that range from 7.9 to 7.5 will be Chad Campbell, Kraft, and Wagner. So not in that order. I think Wagner first, most likely. That's where I'm at. So right below there, we go from 74 down to 7K. We have a lot of names there as well, actually. So let's actually cut that up because I actually don't think there's that much value below 7K. So guys, let's take it down from 74 to 7,200, and then go from 72 to 7, and then we'll do everything under 7K as there's probably not much. So whichever one of you guys wants to, any hot takes from the 7,400 range can start. Whoever wants to let it fly.
Well, I think that this range, the main people, I'm doing single bullet, but Ollie is always like worth a look. Makes a lot of birdies, makes a lot of bogeys, so always worth a look. John Hull is interesting to me. I won't be playing him, but he's interesting. And then I heard people talk about Brian Sturd.
Oh yeah, highest stone on the slate probably.
Yeah, I won't be playing him though. And then you said 7,200.
Yeah, just down to 7,200 included. Yeah, and then we'll do.
Yes, probably JJ Spawn for me. He seems like the type of player that's really streaky, and coming off of those streaks of missed cuts, and then coming from a T29 last week. He might be able to get onto that streaky play we were seeing him the last couple of weeks ago, where he was getting T17, T44s, T6s. So he's definitely an interesting play for a GPP aspect. But yeah, that's probably the only people I'd be looking at early around this range.
Right. Take it away, Seth.
Yeah, I'm not really liking too many of these guys either from this range. It's hard to pull the trigger on any of them. Wesley Bryant, I'm hearing a lot about, and for good reason. I mean, he's on paper, he's looking like he's got the most potential to do well.
Oh yeah, I like Wesley Bryant too. I have him in my lineup. That's why I say him.
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, I can't commit to any of these guys.
And then
to be honest, I might fade that whole range.
We talked about Jeff Ogilvy.
Yeah, there we go. Jeff Ogilvy. I forgot about him. Yes, we did touch on him, that he was popping pretty high. Where do you have this 13th? The Quicken Loans. Yeah, I think he's one of these guys that kind of plays better in these weak fields. Actually, let me pull up the weak field because we haven't got to him yet, but there's one guy that I'm going to talk about that I like in even lower range. But yeah, I think I'd have to say the punt down here might be Ogilvy.
Right. Looking at his stats, actually, they do play well compared to guys in that range. I mean, guys like Sean O'Hare, he's not in the top 60 in any strokes gained stats. While we got guys like Ogilvy, who's in the top 60 in all of them except for off the tee. But missing the fairways on this course is almost impossible. And with Ogilvy getting a 16th last year, he's proved that. So I really like that. So
yeah, he's got a ton of green. I mean, he does pretty well consistently.
Top 27 in everything except putting, where he's 46th. So
yeah, he's the
that's
one.
DK
actually,
points included.
Yeah, he's the one with the course history of 16th. He's played here once, and last year he had a 16th, and he actually shot 12 under. He's going to have to do better than that. I mean,
right, but it's
really
7,200. You don't need him to contend, really. But
no, but you want a guy who can.
You want the most upside you can.
Yeah, obviously.
Right. So, is that your main play there? Any more at 7,200 or? Because I'm pretty similar, man. I only got a few here as well.
That's about all I like in that range.
Right. All right. So real quick, nothing really different from me. I am going to be fading Wes Bryan just personally. If he beats me again, it's just like Berger. They're my equivalents. I mean, there's the high price stud and the low price stud, and I'm gonna be fading them both. I think because the reason I call him low price stud is because Wesley Bryan, when you go down to that range, he sticks out like a sore thumb in my opinion compared to the rest of the names. The only ones you can kind of put in comparison are Snyder Jans, not Lucas Glover, Johnson Wagner for specific to course history, not form. And that's really it in that range. So guys that I'd be willing to play in a 3-entry max. I won't say in a single bullet just because it literally would be none of these guys. Like I'm trying not to go this low. But if I do, it would be in a 3-entry max. I would actually go back. I hate to say it, but I might play some Grayson Murray. I think this is the week to get on him. You're looking at sub 2% ownership, but definitely only if you're willing to light money on fire. If you like, Pyro? I forgot what that little thing is where you're like kind of fascinated by fire or whatever it's called. But
Pyromaniac.
Yeah, Pyromaniac. Yeah, exactly. Good stuff there. Yeah, but my fault there. And that's really it. I mean, Wes Bryan is the one that sticks out, and that's why.
But not to interrupt, but I got to ask, what is the fascination with Wes Bryan this week, really, to get him so high owned?
To be honest, I personally don't really know. He's got good stats.
His name, his stats. It's a guy that's won an event, RBC Heritage.
Exactly.
But I'm looking at the trend here.
Yeah.
You guys see this on the screen?
Mm-hmm.
It's all green, and you can see the ownership start to trend up as he did well. You know, he was hitting red, and then all of a sudden he was under 1%, and then he did well again. Then people started taking notice. It doesn't tell me his finish, but he won the RBC?
Yeah.
Okay, well, people started trending him up big time, and he put up 125 points in that win. And he was actually lower owned than he was in Puerto Rico by like 6%. So
and he was local too. He was local to South Carolina, and he was still low owned.
Yeah, that's weird. And then he started like going backwards, and now he's doing that, trending up again. But he still was only 6.5 last week in the 3, around 6%. So I don't know how owned he's going to be. Because he might be on
the highest owned.
Really?
I'll be playing on this week.
I mean, he might actually be on this trend again. But it took a while before people actually took notice. But then this was all prior to
he got
win.
a T8 last year, and his stats kill. Like, he's 18th in DK points, 17th strokes gained total, 10th tee to green, 6th approach. Not very good off the tee, just like Ogilvy. But as we've seen, the results don't really off the tee doesn't really correspond or correlate with finish. So that's not a big deal. And 58th, which is average around the green, which again doesn't really.
But see, that T8 that he had last year,
right?
The following week, he went from being 9.25% owned at John Deere, where he had the T8. The next week, he only went up by 3 points, and he missed the cut, obviously, because he only had, he let everybody down that started rostering him, and then nobody took him apparently. Or actually, these events don't count; they're web.com. But then when he came back to the tour, they jumped on him at 13%. He did well for 3 weeks, and then he was a letdown. So yeah, he's the epitome of GPP guy.
Right. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I wouldn't be playing him in cash. And for people to like, I can play him in a single entry, but cash is different. I mean, cash is just Wes Bryan is still volatile. I get it. He's probably one of the safer plays in that range, but I don't know. All you need is a guy to.
Well, look what Jordan said: 40 tags with 35 starts and 2 sits. So yeah, for some reason, I guess it's the one win coupled with his history of the T8 that it's just blowing him up.
I think it's his price for this field. Like,
yeah, that could be too. He's another underpriced one.
He should be more higher price.
Like 8,000. Yeah. All right.
So yeah, let's see here. We can just take it down. I got a couple of chalkier plays in that 7,100 to 7K range. Obviously, Curtis Luck has gotten the most talk. He's going to be one of the highest owned, but I have a pivot for you guys. I've kind of hinted at it to you a couple of times. I didn't want to get off topic with it, but my pivot here, and I'm going to say it. It's going to be risky. I might even throw him in my single entry, and that is Willie Wilcox. I think at 7K, he's a scorer. Very easy course. He's a North Carolina boy. Used to kind of easier courses. I watched him a little bit out here. Not at Pinehurst because that's a pretty challenging course, but some other local courses, and he's not very fresh on he is very fresh on the PGA Tour and not the best golfer, but he's active on Twitter. He answers questions. He pretty much lets you know how he's feeling, if he's ready to go. And what I got from him so far is I think he's a good play. Stats mash out for me, at least the ones I'm looking at. 40th in strokes gained putting in the field, 25th in strokes gained total, 14th off the tee. That one doesn't really matter to me too much, but he's done six. He's played 6 rounds here, probably 3 missed cuts, but actually no, T8.
No, he actually,
missed cuts.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I was looking at that.
he didn't golf it last year, but this wouldn't be a guy I go any full exposure onto. Not one of my favorite plays by any means, just a guy for leverage. I think you will get who can outperform a guy like Wesley Bryan or Curtis Luck at cheaper, but it comes with some risk. But if you go below him, the only guys you're looking at that could outperform him most likely are guys like Scott Brown, Luke List, Smiley Kaufman, and that's all I really see in that range. I don't like anyone else there. So you guys and Michael Kim, but that's it. You guys go whatever way you want to take. That's my take. Morgan Hoffman too, actually, at 7K. I like that pivot as well. All of his stats are in the green.
Yeah, I like a couple guys in this range actually. Joel Dahman. He's been putting up a couple good tournaments. Luke List, we talked about. He can bomb it. He's got really good stats across the board. Sometimes he gets a little wayward, but I think the fairway widths here are going to allow that. Trey Mullinax. And just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody I like here.
Scott Brown is a killer at this. You might be chalk too. I don't know how chalky though.
Yeah, but
interesting take though.
I don't know. He's got his weeks. You know, he's kind of cooled off for a little while there. He was looking like he was on the verge of a win, and then he hasn't played for a little while. He missed his last cut, but you know he was really getting hot, and then he kind of cooled off. He's kind of like, and you know he's got the ability. He can definitely pop at any time, but I'm not really liking his recent form last couple tournaments. Aside from that, I can't really jump on anybody. I mean, we see Vajegas do that once in a while too, but he's another one that I can't trust.
Right.
This is just for the 7K range, right?
Yeah, just the 71s. Anyone under 71, actually, man. I mean, we'll just group them all. It's all right.
Can you pull up Morgan Hoffman's course history? One of you guys?
Yeah.
Because I've heard him talked about. I won't be playing him. I don't think so, but
he finished 3rd last year, actually.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. What he had good course history here, or at least he finished.
Yeah,
3rd.
he does. His recent form is nothing to write home about.
Yeah, exactly.
But he can get hot for a couple weeks.
Yeah, he's number 1 in Eagles gained in the last 24 rounds in this course.
Is he really?
Yeah,
wow.
So he's one of those guys to look out for at that 7K range. One of those course history horses. So if I was playing multiple islands, I definitely would throw him in the line. Besides that, like he said, Scott Brown, Trey Mullinax has been trending sort of upwards, so I like him. And Luke List is the ultimate punt. You never know what you're gonna get with this guy. But But yeah, that's pretty. There's not much at this range that I really like.
Right. Let's see. I agree. Those are mainly the guys, and we're not giving you guys anyone really new except for Willie Wilcox and Jeff Ogilvy. Really, I mean, a lot of people have talked up Luck, Scott Brown, Molinax has been decently, not chalk obviously, but decently owned the last couple of weeks. Done all right though, so I like that. Smiley Kaufman, I think, can be considered a good birdie maker, but no course history, so won't be too highly owned. Did find a little bit of form earlier in the year, but just a few weeks ago, actually, he was finding form from poor form earlier in the year, I should say. But that kind of stalled out, it looks like. So, other than that, Scott Stallings may be at 6,900, but that's literally dart throw city. Stats are shit. But Michael Kim would be the lowest I go, right there at 6,900. I will take a quick glance all the way down to the bottom. And the only other guy would be Stuart Appleby, I guess, at 6,800, just because he's good at putting. And I don't want to even name any more guys there because that's just throwing shit.
Yeah, if we're talking about the 6K range, I mean, well, pretty much 7.2 onward is pretty much almost all darts. It's Alex Chekic is somebody that's interesting. If you're trying to go for a dart, T9 off at the green bar. He's been decent, and 6,700. Yeah, if he gets you any decent score, that's a really good punt. Think JT Poston is somebody that has been trending down. It sucked actually. It's because that 5 straight cuts. At one point, this guy was putting T10s, T55, T27s. So that's a complete punt right there. Is JT Poston, but yeah, not much in this type of field. Yeah.
Right. And I'm actually looking at Carl Peterson. He kills this event, and that's weird. He's at 6,500. His stats kill. He's third around the green, 18th strokes gained total, 30th in DK points.
I refuse to play Carl Peterson.
And I agree.
That one event.
Sample size. It's crazy. And then we got our boy Dickie Pride. He's in the field this week. I won't be playing him, though. So that's pretty much it. Sam Saunders at absolute min price. I wouldn't hate you. Like I wouldn't hate you. I would be like I wouldn't think you're the smartest guy or the sharpest player, but I mean, there's no need. Let's just put it this way: we're only doing this in case you guys want to play all the studs you want. None of us are going this low, or I don't think we are. So, no reason to. I think you can cut it off, just like HP said, about 7,300.
Actually, go ahead.
Caleb said, take a look at Gregarious.
And I just was, and you know what? He's actually pretty interesting. Actually, before he even put that up there, I was just starting to look at him because he had a lot of stats that were popping out. He's got good course history. Let's see, Garrigus 22, 24, miscut 25th, withdraw 65th, 23rd. And let me see what else I saw about him. Yeah, his greens in regulation is really good. 30th. I mean, to be down this low. This could be like a really sneaky play. And Hurley, too. Because I saw it.
Really Hurley for me, man. No. Can't do it. Whenever he's supposed to do well or in the position to do well, he doesn't. Last week, wasn't it his winning tournament? One of these tournaments, he was the defending champion. It might have been the Quicken Loans or something. But I mean, I agree on Garius. Garius is one price mistake. I would say he should be right at about 7,200. I'd say, but and yeah, he's all green everywhere. Second and off the tee. Terrible putting though. That's the only red thing he's got. He can't putt to save his life. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you there again, though.
No, that's right. There's actually two other guys I'm looking at down in this range, actually below this range. Cody Gribble and Ryan Brem. I've been looking at them for a couple days because I'm going to bring back my weak field spreadsheet that I made Cody Gribble kills weak fields. He won Sanderson Farm safely. He had an 8th, OHL, T15. So to be that cheap and actually do well on these kind of fields, got to put him into consideration. And let's see, there's a couple other guys. Reeve has done very well in weak fields. Campbell, obviously. Kelly Craft. I didn't highlight everybody. I'm just trying to scan through. But yeah, there's several guys that people aren't going to be considering because they see them in these strong fields every week getting torn up. But when they play in an event where it's basically almost web.com, they can do very well. So that's why I think, you got to try to fit some punts in and hope you hit on the right one, because one of these real bottom of the barrel guys is gonna make a top 10, I believe, or maybe more than one.
Right, Sebastian Munoz.
Right, exactly. There you go.
Did you guys see that? It was like one of the craziest. What was he like? I can't remember. There's some crazy mathematical percentage. He was like putting. He made like 394 feet of putts in his opening round or something like that. Some gnarly stuff. But anyway, for me as well with ACP, of course, we're probably only going to be running that 1 or 2 lineup. So these guys aren't really on our radar. But if
these are more like max lineup guys,
Yeah, if you are experiencing with or experimenting, I should say, not experiencing, man, it's getting late, but experimenting with the some little 20 entry max or even 150 if you're doing actually another quarter arcades unless you do that. Like 50, I think it's the max there, but you definitely want to get some exposure to guys that have the upside of top 10ing, top 20ing if they're down in the lower 7K range. So don't exactly hate. Excuse me, just been burping there, but don't exactly hate a lot of the plays. But there's some I do disagree with. I just don't think will do well. But like guys like, I don't know. I do think Ryan Brem can do well. I don't know. I just can't go fishing this low in a field like this. Like I'm just trying to get the guys that are just gonna birdie, and I think it's going to be all up top. And mainly, I mean, there's going to be a couple guys, but I think we already hit the guys on the head there. So I don't really have any more names to talk about. The only other things I really wanted to cover in our stream here before we get off was simply just how like contest construction. Well, obviously I want to talk about the Scottish Open just a little bit, or not the Scottish Open, the Open. I keep confusing. God damn it. Scottish Open's going on right now, actually. I think it's about to lock here in about an hour. That's the event with Rory and all those guys. They're out there in Europe. If some of you are wondering why they're out there in Europe this week for that event, it's mainly just to get accustomed to the time zone and the time change. It's not really because they don't like the PGA event.
And they want the wind to pick up.
Right. Because the event next week, the winning score last event, it's on like a 6 event rotation or 6 course rotation. And the last time they did this event, I think it's like 2013 or 2014 or something like that with maybe 2011 actually was like a +3 was the winner and like +7 was second place. So this is the real U.S. Open, like what it should be in terms of difficulty. So it's going to be a good show next week in the middle of the night as well. It's gonna be crazy. So that's all I really got, honestly, for our event this week. So if you guys do want to talk about a little preview of next week, just a little quick. I actually haven't done any real research yet. I've been focusing on just dumb shit like WNBA and man, there's dumb stuff like that. But
I have yet to try that.
Oh yeah, I don't suggest it. I lost some money.
You guys doing it, but I don't know. I just can't get into it.
I played Brittany Griner, stacked her with this girl named Danielle Robinson, a 5K guard who's played more than 20 minutes every game for 5 games and scored more than 17 fantasy points in all 5 games. She goes out there and drops me 6. It's like my fucking luck, bro. Like, I'm telling you, it's just me. Tomorrow, she's going to go out there and score 35, and I'm going to be sitting there like, what the fuck?
She was probably like 25, 30% owned, right?
Nope. No, that's the problem. She was low owned, so it's just me taking that shit.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but Camille Little, my girl from UNC, almost had a triple-double, and she was low owned, and I still couldn't recover. That's how bad my lineup was. But anyway, we're here for the golf anyway. This is just to point out, in a sweatshop, we cover everything. So if you're here just to watch this golf video and you're not in the DFS Sweatshop with us, we cover everything: WNBA, UFC, NBA, NFL, baseball, you name it, we got it. So even some esports brothers getting down. So for the John Deere Classic, that's about it for me. I don't have too much on the Scottish Open. I will not be in that event. It starts in a couple hours. I didn't focus too much time on it. The prize pools were so small. The amount of time to invest into pools that small, where like the total pool is only like $1,000 on most of them. Not in it for me. So stay on the PGA event this week, and that's what we got. Before we sign off, guys, if you guys are cool with that, unless you guys want to go longer. I mean, I need to make my lineup, so I was gonna do that, but I didn't want to say any overall, like if there were like 2 or 3 plays to hold you by, like let's do the like top 10 games. So if you had to name 3, we'll see if I can remember this next week. We'll play a little game, get a little shout out here. Which we got to name 3 guys that we're gonna think are getting the top 10 in the range from 9K to 10K, or 10K and up, 9 to 10K, and 8 to 9. We won't do the 7K range, I guess, unless you guys want to. But so the guys that don't know too much about golf and they want to get a good start, obviously we don't need to give them everything, but just like who are our favorite plays in that range. That's why they're in the top 10, I guess. So I guess I'll start it off. I mean, in that 10K range. For me, my favorite play that I think is going to be the best play, purely is Danny Lee. So I'm gonna say that.
I'm going Kevin Kisner.
All right, what about you, ACP?
I think I like Brian Harman in that range.
I feel you. Not bad. The only thing for me about Harman, I will say, is just that price. But I think that's what's going to make his ownership low, and I think that's a great play there. So from 9 to 10. For me, I'm gonna have to go with Charlie Hoffman. That's where I'm gonna probably get a lot of my starts there. What about
Charles Howell?
My boy Kyle Stanley, man.
Oh man, I feel you. Man.
Get the game.
And then let's see, from 8 to 9. I'm gonna go. You come back to me. You guys take it real quick because I want to say Ben Martin, but you guys go ahead.
Reavie.
For me, it's really literally a toss up between Ben Martin and Kevin Na at that range. Right.
All right. So, yeah, I was curious, Seth, if you were gonna say Reavie because I don't want to steal yours, but I was gonna say Reavie as well, just mainly because of you actually putting me on him. So it wasn't me. I was gonna say Ben Martin was my guy in that range, but I do want to say in that 9K range, if I do not, I will say this: I did say Danny Lee was my favorite in that 10K range. I'm gonna start my lineup with probably Danny Lee, but if I don't, it's gonna be a Charlie Hoffman, Zach Johnson combo. So that's a little like my tag team. I love Zach Johnson. He's almost like a 1B to a Hoffman 1A for me in that 9K range. But anyway. Sorry to cheat a little bit and give 2 guys, but Ben Martin, only guy in the 8K range for me that I really all week I've been on. Chaz Reavie definitely is in my eye though, and I like that. So below that, 8K to 7, we can do this. This will be the last one. We don't need to go below 7, I don't think, unless you guys really want to give out some throws there. But from 7 to 8 for me, I'll keep it simple. Kelly Craft is my guy. Obviously, it's going to come with some ownership. So if I am giving you guys a pivot. Like a very low owned play in that range. I don't want to just throw names out there. I'm gonna have to. You guys say yours real quick, and I'm gonna just look at a couple stats here, so I don't throw it because I know some people want those value plays at like 7,200, so I don't want to give out a dud here. So
I'm going a little lower. Luke List.
Oh man,
I'm keeping it simple, West Brian.
Wes Bryant. All right. So other than Kelly Craft, I'm sorry. Let me sort it right here. Other than Jeff Ogilvy as well, I don't want to start from Seth because that's Seth's guy there. But I actually wouldn't have a problem playing at Campbell. I know that's going to be a little chalkier, but compared to Kelly Craft's going to be higher owned. I also like McGirt, actually, for the Eagle upside. He's actually number one on the course around the green strokes gained, so that's a weird little tidbit. But that's pretty much it. So no one we all agreed on is the best play, but that's good because if we all agreed, then that would mean that there's probably something wrong. So arguments to be made for a lot of these plays. Like you couldn't. There's a valid argument to play. Pretty much to sum it up, there's an argument to play almost everybody. At least from 11-3, so from Daniel Berger down all the way to probably until Ben Martin, because David Hearn's probably that questionable, like why is he above 8K kind of guy, but everyone else seems to be priced in a fairly decent manner to the point where it's not egregious. So I don't want to just keep spewing. I'm pretty much done. I don't really have any new info, so I'm ready to sign off. If you guys have any closing statements or closing thoughts, let it fly, and that's it.
Just good luck, everybody. Hope we give you some valid information. I know we've been gone for like 2 weeks, but we're back.
We are, and we will be back next week as well. Obviously for the major. No schedule yet. We got to work it out. Obviously the event's going to be taking place in London, or I mean in England. It is since it is in Europe, it is going to be on a 6-hour different time difference. So it is literally going to be in the middle of the night. So adjust accordingly. And we're going to see huge prize pools, even though that's the case. So it's going to be fun, to say the least. So for everyone that's here, thank you for staying in.
One last thing, not to cut you off, Dex. I just want to make sure I get this in. I'm starting to work on some back testing for weekend play. If I feel good enough about it, Friday night, I'll put it up. But I'm only going to do that if I see that it's showing good results in back tests. I don't want to just throw guys out there or strategy out there that I don't feel comfortable about. So if not this week, then next, hopefully. But I got a hold of some stats that I was looking for. That's one thing I was really struggling with. Is we can look at a tournament like this and see everything we need, but when it comes to post second round, it's kind of hard to gather anything from the past, which is what I've been trying to collect and save in my in all my DFS documents, so I could try to see what's been coming in. What the different ways that people are going about rostering, because it's a whole different ball game when you're playing weekend golf. You're not worrying about finishing positions or anything like that. You're just looking for guys that have the potential to do well on the weekend. So if I can get that together, I'm going to post it on the thread, and I'll definitely do whatever I can to get that for you.
Awesome, man. We'd appreciate that. Yeah, because you are the man behind Ches Reeves, like T8 for me a few weeks ago. That kind of got me started on him. So that was in a big field, I think, too. So I do respect that. Anything you bring out would be really noted and appreciated. So that'd be dope. I think that's ACP. Any final notes, man? You good?
No, that's it. Good luck again.
Amen, man. Same here. I'm gonna probably try to get a little Xbox in, get a little lineup building in. Since I'm only making one or two, I'm not gonna try to spend too much time on it. But you guys heard it. Our favorite plays, all that good stuff. I am gonna check the chat box one time before we sign off here because I haven't checked in a little bit. Caleb said a few things about Brem. Okay, so yeah, we read those a little bit earlier. So nothing new. So guys, thank you all for joining. To the 16 viewers we got currently, shout out to you guys. If you are on the Facebook VIP, I will be up, and I'm pretty sure all three of us will be up for at least a little bit longer to maybe chop it up, maybe just continue making our lineups. But anyway, everyone take care, And best of luck, and see you in the sweatshop, and see you next week. Take care, everybody.
Good luck, guys. Take care.
You guys look at the Friday baseball slate already or not?